Good evening and welcome. Monday Night Live. Now, if you're tuning in, we are one-man banding it again. Well, Simon and I are one band and James has left us. So we are manning the cameras, going to play some holes, take some questions, and hopefully, we're going to make this a show to remember for good reasons and bad reasons. How's your week been?
I'm honestly trying to work it out. I think I've lost track of what, where,
Of course,
and who
it's Monday,
I am.
isn't it? It's Monday.
I know it's Monday now, but with all the stuff going, all the sport, everything going on, the Open this week, Wimbledon, I don't know where I am. Good though.
So, yeah, I mean, Scottish Open, what a spectacle. What a spectacle. Robert McIntyre, Bob as everyone calls him, got it across the line. There was a certain inevitability about the putt on the last, hitting that shot in. Yeah,
I thought it was short though. Watching it live, I thought it was short.
He did incredibly well.
Just limped beautifully over the front edge.
And it's very rare that you hear the candour of a player saying, I really want to win this championship. And he went into the week he almost hyped it up for himself. And I think that gives you a real insight of the type of player and individual he is. He clearly has got a burning fire inside him to be as good as he can be, and doesn't shy away from the exposure that he brought on himself to win the championship.
I think after last year as well, he clearly feels at home on the golf course. It means a huge amount. I think last year was a body blow to him to make the birdie, to think you've won, to then have it nicked off you. I was playing slightly more difficult last year. It was driver 2-iron, driver 3-wood, and it was driver wedge this year. But to birdie the last hole both times thinking you probably won it, not won it, and now won it. I think there was a sentence in there somewhere. But
we all knew
brilliant to finish off the weight in. The distance control, and that shot in, superb.
Spectacular. Good run in from Adam Scott. That was a roller coaster round, making double, finding himself on the way back, and then got himself back in. I was fortunate enough to do a little bit of work with Iona Stephen last week, talking about her YouTube channel, and I watched the interview that Iona did with Adam Scott, going out on the golf course, played a few holes at Wentworth, and had a nice interview. And from that interview, got a real burning desire that he wants to win the Open Championship, and he loves links, and he's certainly in great form. And to see him do what he did at the weekend, after watching that great, if you haven't seen it, Iona Stevens on the road with Iona, a great interview, wants to win the Open, and a great warm up for the week, and probably has done him a favour not winning it.
I'd agree. I'd agree. And you look at players that are on form. He had to go through qualifying, and he qualified. He's then come in and played on a links, played really well, built through the week, and I agree. I think not winning, you haven't used up that. There's just a little bit extra that you use up to win, or seemingly. I wouldn't know personally. But yeah, I think Mr. McIntyre might just have got over his hangover by the time he tees off on Thursday. But I think it would have done Adam a bit of a favour not winning. There's just a great momentum build, and if anyone's owed an Open, it's him.
Yeah, big time. Big time. As usual, we have got the questions standing by. I've gone iPhone this week, purely because I'd just forgotten, because I was setting up cameras and stuff. And we've got the Precision Golf iPad as well. So get the questions firing in. We've got a good few of you online as we speak, which is great to see. We'll start off with the Precision Golf channel. We're going to play a few holes tonight. We're going to play a few at Royal Troon.
Troon.
Lovely. Give you a little bit of a warm up to what to expect this week in Scotland.
I think it's going to be as green as it looks there.
It is, yeah. I saw some of the on the range at the Open today, and it certainly looks like it's going to be soft, and it's going to be wet as well. First couple of days, right, and windy.
And I believe back end of the weekend as well. I think Friday, from what we looked at, you want to be out late Friday. Yeah. But then you don't want to be out late Friday because you might not get around. Then you've got to be up at like 4 o'clock on Saturday. But yeah.
So Doug says, hi guys, great to see Lefty Bob doing the biz. The question for Simon, why do you set up with the club away from the ball? He gets this one a lot, Doug. I think I know why, but love to hear the explanation, maybe a demo.
honest explanation, because it works. I've not consciously done it over the years. I've never suffered shanks, if that's what you're alluding to. But I used to have a reasonable lateral move in the swing, so potentially that just gave me the space to move back into it and separate slightly. But actually, ironically, ball striking has always been, particularly with irons, has always been one of the best bits of my game. But if I set up with it right in the middle, then I can get quite near the hosel. So it's something that's clearly developed over the years. Just to find middle of the face, and something I now do. I pull the club in a little bit, not consciously, as a bit of a swing trigger, I think.
So I was just answering those questions from my channel, so well done, Doug, for getting in there early. So let's go back to the Precision Golf channel, and I'm all 6s and 7s here. Paul Andrews. Good evening, Paul. Nice to have you with us. Hi, guys. Early question in case I don't make the live. Do you have a contact at GX Golf? Yes, we do. I had gloves delivered and 2 of them tore when I put them on. I tried to contact GX several times but not had a response to any of my emails. The remaining glove is great, but I have 2 I cannot use. Thank you. George at GX Gloves, normally very, very responsive. If you live close by, we will gladly replace them for you. But if you give us, drop us an email, we will put you into touch with GX George, as we call him, and he will most definitely replace those gloves. Great customer service in the main at GX Gloves. Matthew, hi, great show. Met Stu at the Ramco. Thanks for the photo. We're very welcome. We're hopefully coming down for more fitting soon. Keep up the great content. You're super welcome, Matthew. Nice to meet you too. John Puckett. Hey guys, watched last week's show. I laughed at the Mizuno optimizer question. Done 3 times with 3 completely different profile settings. Love your Tour V S Plus, similar driver, fairway shaft profile, question mark. Let me rephrase that. Done 3 times with 3 completely different profile suggestions, full stop. Then goes on to say, love the Tour VS Plus, comma, similar driver, fairway shaft profile, question mark.
Got it. So the Tour VS Plus is actually like a Tour stiff, so it sits above the standard X, so it's actually a 125 gram. So very stout through the middle, stiff tip. I quite frankly, you could something like a Ventus TR Blue in the 7. That wouldn't be far off. Stable tip, pretty even balance through, because that's one of the things the Tour V has. It's not too tip balanced. In a fairway wood, I wouldn't want to go too harsh into it. And again, potentially just one weight up. The TR Blue in the 8 potentially could be, if you're at that sort of weight, that could work very well. The weights aren't a definite between driver and fairway if you're in that weight of irons, but chances are you're going to need that kind of weight. But the TRs give you the stiffness through the midsection and stable tip, which the Tour V gives you as well. So very, very similar profiles there.
If this is a first time show for you, we're running a skeleton staff this evening. James is off swanning around at some, he said management course, I'm sure it was cocktail hour. But he's off swanning around. Normally,
he's on the tube now.
Normally he's behind the ramp, controlling the drums, controlling the cameras. So we're having to do it all ourselves. So if we have a few altercations with the cameras, do bear with us. But hopefully we're coming through loud and clear for you. Andrew Hommant, love all of the custom fits and noticed you can suggest going away before returning to add the next clubs in. Considering that, is it worth booking a full bag fit if you may need to test them first?
So, I'm just making sure I interpret that. I mean, essentially, we'll always advise what's correct, and it's far better to have a follow-up session if you need to recheck something, because we want to be as certain of it as you do. So if we can't be certain of what we're recommending, I may or may not be interpreting the question right here, but if we can't be certain of that we're able to recommend something that we know is going to be an improvement on what you've got, then we will always recommend coming back and having a cross-reference on that particular part of the bag. As to whether to do full bag or part of it, it is a long session, so we do often split them between irons and wedges and then into the woods.
I think that's that was how I interpreted it with Andrew. Wanted to know if he's going to come in and do a fitting, go away, and then come back after he's maybe got the clubs and do the second half of the fitting.
Yeah, I mean, so it's certainly something you do a lot of. A full bag session is a long session, so if you're local enough to make that work for you, then we would advise that, yes.
Very good. I hope that answered your question there, Andrew. Brian Schultz, I just received my custom clubs and I'm struggling to hit the ball. What is a normal adjustment period after getting fitted? My clubs are 40 grams heavier and half an inch longer, so it may take some time to adapt. Whereabouts did you get fitted? Let us know.
Yeah, I mean, look, it can take a little bit of time. Certainly that kind of change. If you're playing heavy and then go lighter, often it's easier straight away. I would generally say, if you're struggling to get any kind of performance after a few weeks, then absolutely go back to the fitter, because that change, that kind of size of change should have been done for a good reason. So there should be data from the session to back up that you would have seen on the day as well. So if it's not matching up, then look, it's not an exact science. We have people who will come back in just to cross-reference specs, and it's a really worthwhile thing to do. It sets your mind at ease, but also, there could be a fine-tune to make. As fit as we get one look. So sometimes that on the day can be either a really good day or an off day, and then seeing a sort of second check can then almost kind of give a bit of a not a reality check, but a kind of a reference point to say, okay, actually, yes, we either pitched it too far, too short, and can make slight amendments off that.
Very good. Glenn 400, that's a familiar name. Welcome back, Glenn. Hi guys, question for Stuart. How would you structure a range session for overall improvement, club selection, target practice, etc.? Well, it depends on what phase of development your game's in. If you've gone for your first ever golf lesson with a new coach, let's say, and he is promoting some change to your swing, you're in quite a big area of change, and so that would be classed as repair. So you're looking to change your golf swing. At that point, you would want to weight it to the drills that you're making less target orientated. So you might do 80 or 90% of your drills, your technical session, and then leave 10% at the end where you'd then just hit some shots at target and a bit of a warm down. Then as you go further on, you'd start to bring down the repair session. You might go down to 70, then down to 40, then down to 30. As you get more competent, and as you do that, the other 70% of the time would then start to get more into match practice, skills challenge, hitting at targets, hitting shape, and trusting the changes of the technique. I think when you're talking about club selection and that sort of things, it's really going at targets and starting to get an understanding of what those changes have done to your swing technique and to the distances that you're going to deliver. So the early stages of sessions with your coach, of the changes you're making, weight it towards repair. And then as you start to get better and more competent, then start to weight it more towards the skill acquisition and playing to targets as you feel more competent. You shouldn't really be more than 300 or 400 balls in before you should start to see a significant drop off of time working on drills and repair. You should really start to stagger it down. I often say for a client, if I've seen them, they should hit 400 to 500 balls and play 2 or 3 rounds of golf, and at that point you should be fairly cemented with what you've seen change. So hopefully that gives you some insight into.
But don't hit them all in one go.
But don't hit them all in one go. Absolutely right. Rasmus Olsen, that's a new name. Aberg wins the Open now.
I think it's a solid shout. I think this week, and one of the things that I guess we'd talk about with Troon, it's wet. The rough's going to be heavy. I don't believe there's going to be a huge amount of wind, but there's going to be rain. So this is as much of a drivers' Open championship as I can remember for a long time. So if he's on with the driver, then he's a serious challenge, similar to Hovland. Sort of guys where if they can get it off the tee well, then actually soft greens mean if you're in play, you can attack the greens. So the key thing is actually being in play off the tee. So yeah, I would agree.
And you only got to look at someone like Harman that won it last year. Shortish guy, bit of a poker, suits a hard, fast running golf course. That's why someone like the US Open where Bryson did well, you're always going to be a real contender because if he can keep it on the straight stuff, he can hit short irons, more irons off the tee. I think you're absolutely right. Because it's soft, it's opened the field up to the top end of the bag, the top end of the players, the longer hitters, I think. Whereas the Open traditionally has always been someone, it could be anyone I think it really depends on the side of the draw you get.
100%, yeah.
And how straight you're going to be on the week.
But I think I think this week, I don't think it's going to be Carnoustie-like, but I think if you're offline, if you're in the rough, I think you are penalised. I think but the fairways play wider because it's wet.
Yeah, 100%. Andrew Hayter, is there a way of making or creating BC a swing weight scale on a budget? BC a swing weight scale, creating BC a swing weight scale on a budget. BC a swing weight scale on a budget.
It could just be creating a swing weight scale on a budget.
Okay, we'll go with that. I'd like to check my Frankenstein driver is so where Frankenstein driver is so where close.
Check it somewhere close. I mean, there are some.
I can't interpret the typos. It's like I just read what's on the screen.
I think there are going to be some relatively inexpensive swing weight scales that you can pick up online. They haven't got to be the digital ones. Some of the manual ones, the manually adjusted ones that are calibrated, those are going to be the best value ones. So I would try and pick up one of those because at least that gives you a decent made benchmark for it. And then as long as you've got a benchmark for it that's consistent, you've got a reference point to work from. We calibrate all ours with all the major brands, but we all know swing weight scales measure differently one establishment to the other. So there can be as much as a swing weight point off. So if you can find something good value online, then do that, and then you've got a decent start point.
Let's get hitting a few shots, and we're going to keep on going with the questions.
Does that mean you're using my clubs today?
Well, do you know what? I was going to dash upstairs. I was going to let you fill. You're going to do a little.
I'll fill a little bit on the 10th hole.
Perfect.
Fill a little on the 10th hole at Troon. Now, pick back 9 at Troon. If your name's Phil Mickelson and Henrik Stenson several years back, then this is an easy set of 9 holes. Now, obviously, this is going to be a little bit greener. Well, actually, no, it'll be about the same kind of green at Troon this year. Starts off with a blind tee shot, and you've got a massive great bunker in the way, and you just got to pick a line and trust it, which actually round Troon, around a lot of the links courses, there are a few like Sandwich that have the odd tee shot like that, but most of them are really kind of flat and open. So it's rare to have a blind tee shot on most of the open courses, so Sandwich being, Royal St George's being the only exception. So on this hole you've got to pick a spot, commit to it, and then hope you find the fairway. So I will start off doing this. I've already pre-set a line on this, so I'm going to go bold and hit driver.
Are you? Is this the 10th dogleg left?
Yeah.
When in 2000 I'm out of breath going up and down those stairs. 2004, I worked at this championship. I was caddying for a player and helping him with his game.
Hamilton's win.
Yeah. And this was a nasty tee shot.
So you just got to pick a spot and hope, which I think as well.
But I think, don't you find that with links golf courses, when you've got a blind tee shot, and because links golf courses are historically like that, it just looks like jungle, doesn't it? Whereas if you play a parkland golf course, it never feels like that. It looks like
you've got
like
the tree
trees.
lines. You've got the tree line to keep you focused. I was saying the only other one that has these sort of tee shots regularly is Sandwich.
Yes.
Which is why most of the pros don't like it.
Whereas that just looks like a load of mess, doesn't it?
So I'm banking on the fact that I'm a bit stiff and I'll pull this slightly. So I've aimed just up the right, into 6-7 miles an hour wind.
Now, sadly, normally we'll get a real close-up of the TV screen, so tonight you're going to have a little bit of a long-range look, but he's hit it down the left wing.
No, it stayed in the rough.
Oh, no.
Stayed in the rough.
Oh, no. You got 215 to the pin. Oh, no.
Didn't get any bounce.
Oh, no bounce at all.
And that's one of the big things that's coming this week. If you miss the fairway, you're going to be a long way back.
Yeah.
As I am on this one. Skied it and pulled it.
Skied it and pulled it. The line.
That,
where's the wind coming out? Into and out
basically
the right?
straight into.
Okay. Come on, Stu.
Do you sky it as well?
Sky
it and pull it.
Ooh. Oh no.
That lesson to one. Warm up before you play.
Oh no. Oh no.
Deep rough.
Yeah. That doesn't work from there. This is not what people. This is not what people have tuned in for.
No, I'll put it to the point where you can hack it out under the fairway. Where's the cursor gone?
No, that's the one.
Oh, is
for
that the other one? Ah. Using the wrong mouse.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
Right, there we go. Where do you want? Oh, you're going to have to hack it out there.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Whack it out over the top. Get it back out on the fairway.
Let's have a little. Oh, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos this evening. You see, James is the. Oh dear. James is the glue that binds this whole thing together.
No. Oh no! Look, I'm just gonna.
Try aim a bit right because it's aiming you at the pin, but just give it a hoof.
See, you can now see that we are clearly
amateurs. Well, you're a pro.
Oh no!
So, right.
No! Can we start the hole again?
We probably could, but if we get through this hole quickly, then we might be able to.
There is an element of getting through quickly is a difficulty. Right, let's
move on to the right.
Let's get people's questions.
Absolute hoon and hack and just hope.
So TP Hartley 999. Hey guys, are you seeing good results from the Callaway Mini Driver, and do you have any 13.5 heads left?
The answer is yes and yes, and we've done a few more of the 11.5s. But yeah, so where they are more of a driver performance than a fairway wood. I think where some of the brands have gone wrong in the past is they tried to make them too good off the fairway, which ultimately it's impossible to make it a good driver and a good fairway wood. So this is very much more a driver style head and been going well. So, but yes, we do still have a few 13.5 degree heads left.
Is there any reason why you chose the back nine? That's a horrid 9.
I thought it was a little bit more featureful than the front 9. Like the 11th with the railway line down the right.
Oh yeah, okay, no, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And we did the front 9 last time at was it Pinehurst?
Yes, yes, we did.
And yeah, so
so let's see. Let's go over to my channel. Let's go over to my channel and answer a couple of questions. Bama number 1. Good evening, gents. Good evening. Was wondering, do you switch out putters based on green speed? Do you use a lighter putter head for fast greens and vice versa? Absolutely not. If you find a putter that works, stick with it. Oh, nice shot.
Thank you very much.
Nice shot.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. I think the theory of it's great, but in practice you've got 2 different tempos, 2 different paces, and you can't put the same move on it. So you don't see any of the good putters on tour switching their putters around. You only see the bad ones switching their putters around.
That gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about switching out putters for green speeds. God, dear me, if you find a putter that you like the look of and feel of, don't be changing it for green speed. Just get used to the right speed.
40 yards gone miles. 40 yards, that's massive as it spins. Oh. But yeah, I think on that front, if you've got a putter that you like and works, you can control the pace of the stroke and the distance you hit it. So you just adjust to the green. You're going to adjust to the green a lot quicker than the green and a putter.
Yeah. I've got better at the chipping now.
We finished this whole
thank goodness. What did I make? About 9 down there.
Neither of us covered ourselves in glory.
Oh, we tied. We tied.
No, it hasn't computed it yet.
Oh, really? Oh, I made a triple and you made a bogey. Okay, so all right. Well, I'm 3 over par after the first. That is not the start. Anyone?
And now we've got a much harder hole coming up now.
Yeah, I remember this.
So this is one that could create some interest, I think.
Unravel golfers' scores.
Off the right, long carry over some thick bushes.
Apologies for not being able to get a zoom in on the screen. Normally when James is here, you get a nice zoom in on the screen, you get to see the ball, but hopefully it's acceptable for you. So Baptiste Van Quem says, hello, just a short message to say thank you. All things you bring makes real sense. You're very welcome. Saying so.
If I can keep this in play.
Jeff Berger, my wife shoots around 115 for 18 holes. Nice drive.
Thank you very much.
Nice drive. I want to buy her new clubs. Should I buy her a full box set or spend the money on a fitted driver and putter? So
I would say both have their merits. I think it depends what she's currently playing with and how suitable is it. If she doesn't need to change them, then you're better off gradually going through the bag and adding to fitted clubs. So driver and putter, you hit the most shots in the round with those 2 clubs. So if you get those 2 right, then she's able to get off the tee as well as possible and then hole out as well as possible. So if what she has is playable, then I would personally go down that route rather than just a complete box set that could be no better than what she's currently got. So getting serious, took his watch off.
Yeah.
It's like Nicholas with his sweater.
Come on, stay on the fairway. Oh, it's got some draw on it.
Bit toey.
Down, down, down.
Oh. It's not in the thick stuff.
It's not in the thick stuff. I'm hoping.
Right, let's see what's... Kevin Phillips, what would Simon says the main effect of going up in loft on a driver, launch or spin or both? It is both. Ultimately, higher loft, higher launch, higher spin. All else being equal from a delivery point of view. So for every degree of loft you go up, generally adding 300 or 400 revs of spin and just half to 3/4 of a degree of launch angle. So it's going to have the most direct impact on your general kind of pitch of outside of the player and the action, obviously. He's been very generous this evening, isn't he?
Goodness me.
The loft will dictate that general launch and spin more than anything else. So if you need to take loft down or up to affect the flight, then loft will do that for you.
I can hear people dropping the subscribers off of my channel after watching me play this golf course. Gary,
you were rather good into the win last week. So.
Oh, yeah, I was. Gary Satterfield, you guys are doing a great job multitasking. Well, thank you very much, Gary. It doesn't quite feel like it at the moment. Of course, you still have a lot of show left. Stu, I was wondering if you could give a good drill for angle of attack with a 3-wood, angle of attack for a 3 off the deck. Thanks. Well, the reality is, Gary, is that you want as lighter angle of attack with a 3-wood off the deck as possible. And so I would practice hitting a 3-wood off a super high tee, and whatever you can feel with hitting a 3-wood off a super high tee, if you can do that off of the ground, just lower the swing down, that's what you want to feel. Because when you put a ball super high off the tee, it feels like you've got to really collect it. And I mean like super high. Higher than that. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it goes.
You see
high.
any club builder looks like and goes, oh, I don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, right? You're looking to just feel like you can just pick it off the top, and that's what we need to do with a 3-wood off the ground. Any angle of attack with a 3-wood off the ground, you've got little enough loft, as you know, anyway. So it will only end badly. So that would be my drill for that, Gary. Hopefully that helps. Oh, I look like I've got half a shot.
The thing I would say with that is you're trying to get the angle of attack there, but don't try and, there's loft on the club. Don't try and help it in the air with your hands. You're just trying to pick it off the top.
Yeah. 137. 75. Okay, so.
Yeah, good old hoon with that, and you should be.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it out. You got it out.
Oh. I have to say, I've not enjoyed these first 2 holes on this.
The good news with this is we can always click off it and decide we don't want to complete because we've just shown a little bit of Troon. We could set it up on the 18th just for the Champions Drive.
Yeah, and why not? Let's play the postage stamp again.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Let's do that. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll finish this hole out. Because I'm sure everyone wants us to see us make
chop down the rest of the back 9.
Yeah, so Gary says minute 3-wood. Yep, we thought that was the case. So flicking back over to, I'm just out of shot there, so I'm just going to back up. Let's have a little look, see who we've got to. Andrew did him. Kevin Phillips. Hey guys, nice to see you, Kevin. What would Simon say is the main effect of going up in loft on a driver?
Just done that one.
Okay, wonderful. I wasn't there with that one. Josh, hi. I've got a QI10 DR driver with a 43-inch Velocore black shaft. Bic black shaft. I've added weight to the head to bring swing weight up, an extra lead tape just below the grip. Do you offer service to build weight into head or shaft?
Yeah, I mean, a little lead tape under the grip is real fine tuning, but certainly in terms of head weights, we've got different head weights for the TaylorMades that we can screw into the bottom of those. So the small round weight that's about 1 centimetre across, we've got options on those. And ultimately, if you're guaranteed going that short, one option you can do is you can put in a bit of hot melt in as well. And we don't like using a lot of that, but it can be used. So some of the weights are attainable. We can get a 13 gram or a 1 gram for those small round ones at the bottom of the QI10s. So there's quite a lot of versatility there.
Daniel Winterbottom got fit for Vokey's, was tight between 54D and S and 60M and D, but found on course D and M was best combo. Only had S200 shafts, went for Modus 130 in the 50 SS in 54. 50 SS in 54 and S400 in 60 for Phil. Thoughts? Question mark.
So there is double check. I'm just going to double check that. S200 shots went for the Modus 130 in the 50, 54, 50 S in soft and 54. Okay, yeah, S460 for Phil. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean the Modus 130 is kind of just under 130 grams. Then you're going a little bit heavier into the S400. I mean the Modus is going to be stiffer in the handle end, softer in the tip. And Dynamic Gold is a little softer through the midsection relative to the Modus. So, there's not a huge weight progression there. I mean, S200 is only a couple of grams lighter than the S400, so there's not a vast differential with it. But ultimately, if you've been able to try them, then the results will show themselves out. But equally speaking, there's not huge varials between those two, so you shouldn't go too wrong, and you haven't gone too harsh, particularly in the highest loft one there, so that's always a good thing.
Squasher 2K. Hi guys, I changed my clubs and went from 115 Modus to 105 and hit a lot of shots off the bottom or thin. Would this be because I've changed to a lighter shaft? Thanks. Great channel. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, potentially. So if it's too light, then it won't take you down to the bottom of the ball. So the mass, we'd use the mass to help pull you down to plane, but also get you to the bottom of the ball. So too light, and you can flick at it a little bit. So it is one of the things, catching it a bit thin. If the dead weight is too light, and swing weight as well, then that would have an effect and potentially, as you say, catch it a little bit clean.
Very good indeed. Glenn 400, that's great info, thank you, you're welcome. Lee Roberts, hey guys, great finish from Bobby Mack indeed. Do you think Titleist will renew their CBMB range, or do you think they will stay with the custom irons for their tour staff? Love the show, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the CBMB, there's not a lot they can change on those. Honest answer, I don't know. We did ask them that when we saw them recently, and that would be, I think, into next year now that they would be making a change. But ultimately, from a design point of view, there's really not an awful lot they can do with a blade and a muscle cavity. It's only when you go to the T series, the 100, 150s, where there's tungsten in the head, different materials, channels behind the face, then the tech starts to lift up. So a blade is a blade, which is why every single brand orients its way back to a classic blade shape in the end. The MP241s, the Titleist MBs, the Cobra MBs, they all are basically the same because there's not a lot you can do. So there's no point changing too much with that model, and Titleist are pretty conservative with changes as well.
If this is your first time watching the show, do give us a like and share it with your friends. It'd be great to get a few more of you here on a Monday night, answering all of your questions. So, horse racing legends, fresh on his way back from Troon. Tony Finau is striking it like nobody he's ever seen. Good insights. Get the money on.
Good intel, yeah.
Get the money on. Tyler Stuart, hello. Good evening, Tyler. Would you say the Ping Blueprint S has similar forgiveness to the T150?
No. No, the S is definitely not as forgiving. The 150 has more tungsten heel and toe, and with the channel in the back gives it a little bit more ball speed. So the Blueprint S is more a T100. Maybe even margin, I would say possibly even slightly less forgiving, but more similar to that. The 150 has definitely a bit more margin for error across the face, and more ball speed, and a stronger spin.
Good question here from Chris Burgess. Hi Simon Stewart, when the ball rollback happens, what will happen to smash factors, and will they amend the calculation? There'll be no amending of the calculation.
The smash itself is just a ratio ball speed to club speed. So that the calculation itself will stay the same. It's just will it drop off a little bit?
The value will change.
The kind of optimal value may well drop off a little bit. It depends, I think, how they do it. Are they going to do it through ball speed responsiveness? They're going to do it a little bit through core cover stability, i.e. dimple coverage. I think there are a couple of routes they can go, but if they literally roll back the speed, then yes, smash will drop slightly.
Yep. Freddie M, are the T150 long irons thin-faced like a hollow cavity T200, or are they still a solid face like the T100?
They're literally partway between. So they do have a thinner Marage face. So from the 7-iron up, there's a channel behind the face that gets slightly, I guess you could argue bigger, but which they use more and more and more, gets deeper into the head the further you go into the longer irons, and as a result there's more of the face that can flex. So there is a progressive face, but it's not quite as thin as there'd be on a T200.
Doug from my channel says, thanks for the Troon weather forecast, guys. Going up Thursday and Friday, so he now knows what to pack. We are...
Pack the poncho.
Pack the poncho.
Friday looks horrendous.
Looks good on you. Gary Satterfield, hey guys, any predictions on what the winning score might be at the Open? Oh, good question.
Well, that is, the conditions make it kind of interesting. I'm going to go...
Let's say it together. Let's say it together on 1. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and we'll say it together.
Yep.
No, we go 3, 2, 1, and then say it. So 3, 2, 1, 8.
9 under.
Okay, well, there you go. 8 under, 9 under. Let's bring Mark in here. Bring on Mark. Come on up, Mark. Come on over.
Mark looks thrilled.
Come over. Look, don't look so shocked. Give you 30 seconds. Give us 30 seconds of your time. 30 seconds of your time. Come on in. Come on in, because you need a microphone.
Yeah.
Give us your prediction of a score at Royal Troon this week.
Well, it was very low last time round, but it was about 2 players, wasn't it? Stenson and Mickelson.
Do you remember what the score was?
Not offhand.
A lot.
It was what, sort of mid-teens, wasn't it?
No, because Stenson pretty much got a record, because Valde was about sort of 17, 18 under around St Andrews. Then Tiger went. It wasn't far off that. I reckon it was about 18, 19.
Yeah. I would go. I'm going to go 12s.
12 unders. Well, I've said 8. Simon said 9.
Winner.
12. Hang on a second. He's a winner. He's a winner. He's a winner. Go on.
Are they Spanish?
Hang on a second.
I don't want prices going down. By the way.
Mark bleeds Spanish, as in Sevi and all that. Hang on. But that, just a bit of a background. So what golfer are you going to pluck from the myriad of players?
Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay, fair play. I
don't. Do you want reasons? Right. So when he first came on the scene, one of his early opens, he was top 5 at Troon. He's gone on Live. He's had a top finish at Valderrama. He won the previous one on Live. He's shown great form in the majors.
I can hear the prices plummeting as you're saying
but
this.
there's my prediction.
Yeah.
Okay,
solid.
well, look, at the US Open, I called it with Bryson.
I think it's about 28 to 1. Well, I won on Bryson, didn't I?
Yeah,
if you remember.
I don't remember, but
I had the winner in the US Open, and who did I have?
Normally, whenever
I also had a place finish at Augusta as well. So I'm not doing too bad on the majors.
Okay, well, that's great. He's lost 6 or 7 grand on all the other bets he's had this year, but we won't worry about it. Anyway, give us. We've got lots of people watching this evening. Give us some insight into. I mean, you fit a lot of people as Simon does. Give us some insight into the golf club that you see more with mid-handicappers. What iron would you tend to see people playing with more than any?
What, bringing clubs through, or what we fit into?
What we fit into, yeah.
Oh, I mean, you can't really be as general as that. I mean, I feel... In terms of the mid-player, I think Srixon ZX5 is a great contender if someone's trying to seek flight. Yeah.
Interesting.
But if someone was, let's say, a bit of a spin merchant, moving it left to right, then the new IF530 is another great head, very strong on ball speed. But you need to have the dynamics to suit that head. There are 2 different players in that respect. But there's two good examples.
Fantastic. And what about Woods? Someone that's a bit of a left to right guy, got quite a lot of spin. Who are you fitting into a head, or what club head are you tending to lean towards at the moment? What manufacturer is lending themselves good for that type of player?
Callaway's great in that respect, because head weights are always in a good place for Callaway, and building it relatively light, and you've got you can build draw bias into those as well, both with the sleeve setting and the weight movement on it. So Callaway is my gut feeling on that. So
the Cobra, the Dark Speed X has worked well for that as well. You can shift weight forward and draw bars, but same reasons for the Callaway head.
And what is it as a fitter that you encounter more issues with? Is it people understanding what a fitting process looks like, or is it you encounter a golfer comes in with a particular style of head that they want to use, and it doesn't necessarily match them? What's the general scenario that you encounter more?
Numbers are everything, aren't they? Yeah. If they see direction, performance, efficiency, it wins. People are looking for straight hitting, efficient driving, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. When people see more performance, they've bought into it, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting, because I think back in the day, we all went down the pro shop because we all loved the pro shop, didn't we? And we walked around the pro shop, we pulled the club off the rack and we gave it a waggle, and we got, that's the one for me, baby. Can you just make that work for me? Whereas now, it's when you walk into our hospitality, it's all about make the club sing. I think people have become way more pliable. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from you.
Well, I think it's changed.
Yeah, while you were starting your live this evening, Adrian, who's come all the way from Swindon, he's always said, I've always loved tailor-made drivers, and I put a great spec together with a tailor-made driver, and it was exceptionally good, exceptionally efficient. And then I introduced the ZX7 head, and he's gone, well, hold on, that's every bit as good, but there's a cost saving 110 quid.
Yeah.
And that it offsets the cost of what we use. A beautiful shaft in like a Graphite Design XC5. It's covered a third of the cost of that shaft. Suddenly he's getting a beautiful product that really works at a better price.
And I think I think they're the untold stories that I think the trepidation of going into a fitting, it can be quite imposing, can't it? Walking in here, got a lot of product. Immediately people think, oh, this is a good player's environment. And actually, when you're coming down to the brass tacks, ultimately everyone wants to walk away with a great golf club in their hand, don't they? And the questions that we have that always shocks me is just the intelligence that our viewers have on the stream. I mean, the amount of product knowledge that guys and girls have, and yet where they come in, sometimes that product knowledge might actually work against them, because it's like, just lay yourself bare, just hit a few shots.
Preconceptions can hurt.
That's right. Oh, I've heard this does this and this does that, and I think that's when you lean on the expertise of yourself. And I'm not trying to pitch anything here other than just an experience. We know how good you are, Simon, and I think it's nice to get someone like Mark that obviously doesn't come into a fitting that often, but it's nice to get a different perspective of that experience.
Well, Mark's got more experience than I do, so he's the most experienced. He was the most experienced staff member we have here, and that it really counts for something. That's when this is an experience-led role. The job of a fitter is you learn from what you've seen in the past, and you actually, okay, that happened because of that, right? And you can take that on to the next fitting and the next fitting and the next fitting. And so every day we spend in the fitting bay, you're just building on that bank of experience, that bank of knowledge that you've built up over time, and then you've got, right, I can call on that card.
I think it's the confidence. It's the confidence in staying transparent when people explain the numbers properly, and it's not about sheer distance. It's about optimal flight with it, whether it be irons, drivers, whatever it is. But it's a transparency in the depth of information in people seeing really why it is better, rather than, oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. That's worked out quite well. Yeah. When you really go in, like I have there with Adrian, it's just that finer point of being very precise about ball speeds and launch angles and spin rates and dispersion and there was honestly it was a real fine line between the TaylorMade head and the Strixon. They were almost identical. They were brilliant numbers, but then you've got a choice to make, haven't you? Feel
and then it might come down to look and feel, right? At that point, that's right.
Then the subjective element, and he was a TaylorMade guy who has placed an order for a Strixon because actually it sounded really good off the head. And he was blown away with the performance. He's going, hold on, where's that come from? And you're saying it's going to be whatever cost. Thanks very much. I have that.
Brilliant. Listen, great insights. I know you're working, but super to get your take on it. See, I was being nice to you there. You were always trepidate.
Nice on the 2nd of August.
Unlikely, because we're playing golf, and I'll be rolling around.
Not competitive between one another. Those
not at all. Only known each other for 20 odd years or more. Good insights there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I just thought Mark was walking past there, and it's a great little insight into his experience of a fitting. I mean, it's not we're trying to necessarily push precision golf, but I think sometimes you can have an experience of a fitting, you can have an experience of a golf lesson, you can have an experience of a meal, and it's so different across the board at many different facilities. And it was just nice to grab Mark there. So we really appreciate his time. Let's have a little look, see where I've got up to. What's the Kevin T? I'm sure I'm going to track back while I just throw this question out there to Simon. Kevin T asks, what are the advantages of having forged clubs? What some might say, oh, well, I know the answer to that. But actually, it's a really good question.
Yeah, so I think one of the misconceptions of forged and cast is that it's just the manufacturing method that the metal is formed under. So a forging is a kind of effectively an ingot that long and about that diameter that gets heated the heck out of and then pressed into shape. And a casting is something that's formed in a die, more of a liquid metal form, traditionally liquid metal formed in a die and heated up to set. So the forged head, it allows a greater manipulation of the head from a loft and lie point of view. It's a softer sound, but traditionally all the better players' clubs were forged because you make a blade that's just whacked into shape. Actually, there's more versatility to a cast head from how you can construct it. But a lot of clubs have the word forged on them when actually it's just the face. So there's a lot of misleading usage of the word forged. But ultimately, it allows you, it's a softer sound and feel. And it's a bit more, you can manipulate loft and lie a little bit more easily. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. Historically, it was more consistency of distance, but that's now, they're putting more materials into the face, and face flexion and spin variables are creating more distance variables. But in the main, it's adjustability.
Very good, very good. Glenn 400 asks, another question for Stuart. Have you had any students where you can't grasp hitting a draw after several lessons? I've had one client in the last 25 years where draw is tricky for them. Tricky. Relatively new golfer, but there isn't anyone that I can't get the ball to move right to left. He could move it right to left, just couldn't do it necessarily consistently. But 99.99999% of the time, hitting it right to left is a piece of cake. And if you battle with it, you're doing it wrong because it shouldn't be a fight. To make the ball bend right to left, simple, super simple. And it's not all about bowing wrists and all that nonsense. Ryaj Smith, have a left miss with irons using X100 130 grams. Do you think 120 grams might help?
Might do. Ultimately, it is a case of that.
Absolutely.
So a left miss can happen with a heavy club because the club gets stuck behind, then you have to fetch it and that flicks the toe over. So that's generally where a left miss comes. So someone like Matt who hits it miles and you think could deal with a load of weight, if he plays too heavy, it rips the toe around because he plays catch up, catapults the head around and hits a hook. So going lighter will help. The 120s are a lot more tip balanced. So yes, they're 10 grams lighter, but they're a lot heavier in the tip. So, but certainly going lighter, that allows you and the club, the handle, to come with you, which helps to create a little bit of shaft lean, which then helps to leave the face online through the ball if you're playing a shaft that's too heavy.
I will jump back over to my channel. Adam Donaldson, new name to the show. Thank you for being with us. I have KBS dollar taper light in my irons due to shaft availability at the time, and I was fitted for C taper light. How different are these shafts? I struggle with high dynamic loft. Curious if a C would help.
So they are quite different. So both maybe are the same brand. In theory, both lower spin shafts. Technically, the dollar taper might be a little bit lower spin, but it's higher balance. So the dollar taper light's more of a 9,500 gram shaft. The C taper light goes, the reg's 105, the stiff's 110, the X is 115, but they balance in the tip, whereas the dollar taper balances up the back end, so a little bit more. So it will affect your delivery. It's a very different shaft. So if you're flicking at it and flipping underneath, then in principle, the C taper light should help create a little bit of a later hit and help you cover it a little bit more.
Bama number 1 says, how on earth did we get Ian Woosnam on the show? I'll let him know when he walks back through. He's going to buzz off that. Yeah. I've been using that for weeks now. Thank you so much, Bama.
That is consigned Mark to years of ridicule for that.
Doug says, Brooks for me, and it is as soft as you say. Look for top iron player. Can't count out Scotty either. Got to be in the fairway to be a good iron player. So yeah, I agree with you to an iron player, but got to be good in the fairway. Daniel Winterbottom, thank you for your advice. Really appreciate all the tips. It's now my favourite channel for fitting. As for shafts, play Modus 130 on irons, and so carried that through until I was 60. Freddie M, reason I asked about the thin face T150 long irons is issue with hollow cavity face irons breaking. Sounds like a man that's got some clubhead speed. Yeah. Worried it might happen with the T150 as well.
Less likely with the 150 than the 200 for sure. It is a bit of a different construction, so there is a bit more support behind the face.
Gary Satterfield, I just bought myself, I know, we both giggle whenever we hear Gary's name.
We haven't had any clogs yet.
Though, no clogs. My sister might be watching, but no clogs. I just bought a set of Strixon ZX5s with graphite shafts. I fitted myself. I wish I could have got fitted by Simon, but these clubs are unbelievable. It sounds like you've done a good job.
You know what? As long as you get something that works, that's great.
All it matters. Freddie M, no, I've done that. Paul M, hi chaps. Assuming you strike the ball with the same approximate distance loss, if you increased loft by 2 degrees on your irons.
So generally 2 degrees you're going to be, I think if you strike the ball the same way, if you increase by 2 degrees, roughly half a club. Yeah. So it depends on what your club gap is. For me that would be 6-7 yards, 6 odd yards. For a lot of players it's 4 or 5 yards. So 5 yards is a good rough approximation for 2 degrees.
Josh asks, any tips for fixing a pull draw? Great show as usual. I'll give you 3 tips. 1, move the ball further back. 2, move your pelvis at the top of your backswing more to the left of the golf ball. Or 3, aim more right. One of those will work, I promise you. Jared Watson, can you talk about shaft weights? Simon's got a lot on that. I'm rather smoother swinging, but think I have less dispersion with heavier iron shafts. Left miss is exaggerate with a lighter shaft.
So there's total weight and then there's balance point. So you can have a smooth, look, Ernie Els has got a smooth swing, but he needed a heavy shaft at his best. He's still strong and still developing a lot of speed. So smooth tempo doesn't necessitate light. And you get someone who's got a sharp tempo, and historically people have said, oh, use heavy to slow it down. Often wrong. Actually, don't go too heavy, otherwise it causes you to get out of sync. So there are several aspects to it, so there is no one hard and fast rule. But you might find that a heavier shaft with a neutral balance helps control the club face a little bit more. Other players with a smooth tempo might find a lighter shaft with a head-oriented balance helps them control the face more. Ultimately, it is just what works. But it's the bit that's quite hard and why there's misunderstanding on shafts, because there is no hard and fast rules about it. It's just how does the player move and how can you get the club to complement that. And for someone 6'6" and built like an outhouse, it can be a lightweight graphite, and someone you brought Woozy up, 5 foot nothing, who swings it round them. He needed a heck of a lot of weight because he was strong as an ox. So he needed the heavier shaft. So it doesn't always go to kind of what you might expect.
Question for Matthew, or from Matthew Gilkston. Stuart, which tour golfer would you recommend we watch their swing as a model swing? I get this asked a lot, and I don't usually have one. Questions, or the swing that I've grown up with, which was the inspiration for all of my coaching, was Stuart Appleby. Another good swing is Hunter Mahan, not around quite as much now. But what I find now is there are elements in swings that golfers do well. Some people use their legs well. Some people use their levers well. Some people use their upper body well. You'll be surprised by this, but if you're looking for a pivot action, an upper body and lower body action that works really well, go check out Bryson DeChambeau. How he uses his lower half and his upper half through strike. Something that I'm a massive fan of is how the left hip moves back and the chest covers the golf ball. This continual sitting back and this real side bend and leg drive is still so prominent in our game, and it's all this right arm tuck and all this business, and so when you look at someone like Bryson that uses his leg action and his upper body so well, that would be someone that I would really encourage people to go check out. Looks a bit quirky on the way back, but when you watch how he uses his lower body and upper body through the ball, it's absolutely spectacular, and it's no surprise to me why he hits it so straight.
Interesting to see what you think about this. I've always felt a lot of people should look at Molinari for his swing, because most people, if you're wanting to learn something from it, most people are not athletes and not flexible and sit at a desk all day. So Francesco is not someone who's got that massive hip rotation that all the massive hitters have, but he has, when he was playing well, he was beautifully timed and synced. And his hips were pretty much dead square at impact. So for a lot of golfers who don't have the pelvic mobility, I always thought that was quite a good one.
Very much a one-for-one player. So where we've seen lots of separation between lower half and upper body, very much looked like it was chest and trunk moving as one unit rather than this kind of corkscrewing effect that lots of coaches go on about. Absolutely, I agree with that. But it looked kind of wooden, didn't it? It was a more dynamic Marco Mira swing. If you remember, Marco Mira was very sort of, again, this very sort of wooden style type golf swing, very much on top of the golf ball. I think as we go on, and a great bit of technology, Sports Box, which I use in my coaching, the more we use technology about how we move as individuals with our body, I think we're really going to start to see this changing of the guard of how people move, because there's no place to hide. TrackMan, there's no place to hide with the club head and the ball. And now when we get in Sports Box, that's so much of an opportunity for people to measure how they move off the ball, rotations. And we understand how our leg action creates good hip rotation. It will be, well, that creates more hip rotation, that creates less. That side bend creates less chest rotation, that reduced side bend creates more. And I think once we start to get more educated, golf coaches become more educated in that, we're going to see a real changing of the guard in golf swings. And I think the still, for me, the block of golf tour players, the golf swings are still, for my money, they still play really great golf. They're still dysfunctional. More golfers are playing with injury, bad backs, tendonitis, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, knee problems, ankle problems. This is all dysfunction because they're repeating a pattern time and time again, and they're a little bit out of shape. Again, for my money.
The side bends are the one that really scare me.
Absolutely. We're at 1 minute past, so we'll take one more question. Lee Bienick. Thoughts on the new Titleist GT? How much better will it be than the TSR, QI10 and AI Smoke?
That is a question I will have to answer. I do have an answer, but I'm not allowed to give it yet because they are embargoed. There is some progression. I certainly can't talk any numbers on it. There is some progression on it. It's not going to be huge simply because TSR was very, very good. So they are talking about some ball speed gains. The fairways are where you're going to see the biggest improvements. We will be doing a proper review on it. At the moment that embargo lifts, there'll be a proper review coming out. But I don't want to say more than I'm allowed to. But fairways, definite improvement, noticeable change in how they launch. But the drivers were already very good, so less of a change on drivers. But a review will follow as soon as we're allowed.
Well, we've just about reached the end of the show. 2 minutes over. We like to keep it to a strict 1 hour. Do give us a like and a share and share with your friends, because it's, again, we want to grow the channel, keep bringing you some super content. We've got the Open this week. How excited are you about the Open Championship?
I think this is the one that for me always, the Masters and the Open, but the Open, that's the one that I always look forward to most. You get some varied conditions, you see who's playing the best golf, not just hitting it best.
And your winner?
Depends so much on draws and things, but I wouldn't surprise me if Morikawa was right up there.
Yeah, good iron player.
Just all around, just solid. Yeah.
Well, it's one of the best weeks of the year. Hopefully the sun is out where you're watching this show from. You enjoy the Open. Simon and I are really grateful for you to join us this week and all your interactions and all your questions. We look forward to welcoming you back next week. Enjoy the Open Championship. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.